Hello and welcome. I am your host for a series of presentations through our website, purelyprabhupada.com. Ancient Truths for the Upliftment of the Modern World. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, came to this country in 1965 on the order of his teacher, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who asked him to bring the knowledge of this ancient Vedic wisdom to the Western world, which were filled with impersonalism and voidism, which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. So Srila Prabhupada spent the last 10 years of his life. He came at the age of 70 and he left at 80, translating over 80 books from Sanskrit to English for the benefit of the world. Most of us don't know that there are lineages of knowledge that have come down over millions of years. And there are times where this succession of spiritual teachers and the knowledge that they bring becomes broken and unavailable. But this knowledge is available to us now. And now more than ever, we need to take advantage of it because the world is literally on the precipice of destruction. How has this happened? So Srila Prabhupada warned us of this decades ago, before he left untimely in 1977. He asked us to establish farm communities. He said that there will come a time where people will leave the cities. They will need a place to live. They will need shelter. They will need food. But sadly, when Srila Prabhupada left, his instructions were not followed. And the organization which he started was completely infiltrated, as many religious organizations and corporations and institutions have been infiltrated by an atheistic, evil-minded class of men, which is why we see the world in the state that it is in now. It is due to one thing, a lack of God consciousness. And if we think about it for a moment, we realize that those who have positioned themselves in places of power are systematically trying to take God out of every single sphere of our lives, out of schools, out of government, out of the realm of science, out of education, out of every aspect of our life. But we are all sons and daughters of God. So if we eliminate God, if we eliminate our Father, our very origin, how are we going to be happy? Our Father has provided everything we need on this earth for our happiness. And the artificial standard of life that has been developed over the last many decades that has taken us away from everything that's natural and everything that's good and everything that's wholesome and everything that's connected to God has only ended up in destruction on every level. We don't see happy faces anymore. We don't see abundance in our life. We see lack. We see suffering. We see sickness. We see anxiety. We see worry. We're not meant to live like this. We're not meant to be struggling from paycheck to paycheck, wondering if we can, make ends meet. No. We are meant to have a life of abundance. But it's very, very different than what has developed over the last few decades. So I want to reiterate that we are not sending you to an organization, but to a body of knowledge that has literally all the answers that we need now for resolving the very serious situation that we are in. And it begins with cultivating God consciousness. And that cannot be from a sectarian platform, because no matter where we are socially, or what our tribe is, or what our color is, all of us are sons and daughters of God. We have different abilities, we have different skills, but our Constitution says we're equal. We're equal because we are all souls, and we come from God. And on that platform of equality, one nation under God, with that as the foundation, we can thrive. There is a sense now of helplessness because the problems just seem so enormous, and people are struggling, separated from each other. We need to heal this separation. These wisdom teachings from the self-realized sages of ancient times apply now. It isn't that they applied then and they don't apply now. No. The human condition remains the same. We're born, we grow, we get diseased, we reproduce, there's suffering, there's death. Isn't this the situation with all of us? That has not changed from the beginning of time. So the question is, why are we here? Why do we suffer? How can we not suffer? Where do we go when we leave? These are the questions that are answered in these great literatures. So when Srila Prabhupada came, he wasn't coming to give academic information. We have plenty of that. It hasn't helped us. He was a realized, pure devotee of the Lord. And he came to show how to practically apply this wisdom. And in the 10 years that he was here, traveling the world 14 times, there were so many young people, I was one of them, who were attracted by his message, who had been searching for God, searching for meaning. And of course, the 60s was a time of drugs and rock and roll and free sex. So many things had come in that had not been part of our parents' generation. Do you know what Srila Prabhupada said to us? All those who came, boyfriend and girlfriend, he asked them, do this properly, get married. And he asked us, if you want to develop love for God, if you want to be persons of good character, then refrain from eating meat, engaging in illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. He said these are the 4 pillars of sinful life. Now, we were young. We thought we were having a great time, but were we? If we were inquiring, obviously on a very deep level, whatever we were doing that we thought was so great was obviously not satisfying. And even though these restrictions sound harsh and impossible, I'm going to offer to every one of you listening now, please consider how everything in this life that is worthy happens by the performance of austerity. When somebody wants to go to the Olympics, what kind of a lifestyle do you think they have with their food, with their training? So if we want success in this world, what we have all discovered is success does not come from excess. Success comes from restricting in the moment that which is the most pleasurable. Those who are in positions of authority are encouraging us to engage in perversions, in degraded lifestyles. And what is the result of it? And what is the result of it? Terrible, terrible suffering. Hospitals filled with people with so many diseases, When I was growing up, it was very rare to hear that somebody had cancer. We would literally whisper it. It was so shocking. And it was very rare to see a child with glasses on, and even more rare to meet a child that had autism. So this artificial standard of life needs to be given up. And there is a scientific process that all of us can engage in to begin to take our power back from this demoniac civilization that is not nourishing us, not creating happiness. Those in charge are not our well-wishers. But when each of us decides, yes, I am a son and daughter of God. I was created in goodness, in beauty. And my Father wants all good for me. So how can I listen to the words of my Father so I can learn how to have a life that is joyful and abundant? We all want that happy life, but we're going about it in the wrong way. So my prayer is that you will come along with me for this series of presentations and learn how you can begin to change your life and then be a touchstone. Do you know what a touchstone is? A touchstone is something that when it's touched to iron, it will turn it to gold. So we can be a touchstone in our lives for our family, for our community, for our nation, and for the world. Thank you. Hare Krishna.